Hi, I'm Mike, and today we take a look at the mornings on the ranch and how it works nowadays. And later, we head to Deadwood, South Dakota for the RCAF convention. It's all coming up today on Our Wyoming Life. Mornings on the ranch have really changed over the last few months, and a lot of that change has actually come about with harvest hosters. Harvest hosters are RVers, they're parked right across the road, that actually stay on the ranch at no cost, and they visit the farm store, they spend a little bit of money there. But the big draw of the whole thing is that every morning we do a tour that gets a chance to come over and take a look around the ranch. We go through, we do our morning chores with them, we visit all the animals that we can here at the main ranch. And it's just a chance to kind of show people up close and personal where their food comes from. We get a chance to talk a lot about food distribution and how food gets from us to the consumer. Because you got to realize most of these people that come and stay with Harvest Host, they're not subscribers. They're not even in agriculture. They're everyday folks that just bought an RV and are heading across the US or taking a quick vacation with their family. So a lot of times I get a chance to not only talk to adults, but also kids about where their food comes from. And it's one of the most important parts of my day at this point, I feel. So I try to set aside time for it. We do it every single morning with Harvest Hosters. I haven't had a break in months, but for us, it's important, and it's a good thing to do and a good chance to hang out with some folks and kind of give people an up-close look at a ranch, at a farm, and at the animals that live here and how we treat them and how they're part of our family. So we're gonna do that first, and then also I have to get all dustied up and we're gonna head over to Deadwood, South Dakota. It's a couple-hour drive away, where I'm actually on a panel where I'm speaking about basically how do we educate the consumer about the beef system and why local food is important and all that kind of good stuff. So that's coming up this afternoon. I'll give you a sneak peek from there, and then I'll turn around and come back home and start it all over again for the weekend. So a ranch roundup is coming up, so we've got lots of stuff going on around the ranch. And today Jeff Lake is here as well. I think I introduced him in the last video. He's going to be helping us out, and I think I'm going to grab him to play cameraman while I do the tour, so you guys kind of get a look from the outside. So we're going to do that. It's coming up. Stick around. And if you have any questions, guys, just feel free to blurt them out, because if you're anything like me, you'll forget within about 8 seconds what you were going to ask. So interrupt me if you have to. So this is Peanut, who's apparently getting into his food. This is Peanut. Peanut is one of our bottle calves that we had this year. We had another. His brother was Goliath. Goliath passed away a few days ago. So Peanut's now a little bit lonely. So he's about 3 months old, probably weighs 250, 300 pounds, somewhere in there, pretty close to it. And yeah, his mom had mastitis, so she couldn't feed him. So we ended up bringing him in, and then we had to bottle feed him. You can come up and see him and pet him and do all that kind of good stuff. He's really friendly.
Hi, friend. Is it like a dog?
Kind of like a dog, yeah.
Like a bottle fed, they're kind of like a dog.
They are, yeah. They don't know how to be a cow. So we have a big event that happens here on the ranch over Labor Day weekend. We invite all of our subscribers to come and hang out. Last year we had a couple hundred people here from 33 different states and all the Canadian provinces. It'll be a little smaller this year thanks to COVID, but we invite people to come. So we're going to keep him here through that, and then after that we're going to kick him down with the cows so he can learn how to be a cow, because he has no idea. So this is corn, oats, and barley, and this is like breakfast treat for him. So if you grab some of this out of this bag, if you don't mind getting a little slobbery, Dominic, you hold it out for him, and he might be full because I think he's been in the bag half the morning, but he'll kind of nibble on it a little bit. But since we can't make a bottle for him anymore, this is what we do. We used to have people make bottles, and it was hilarious watching people try to feed a cow.
About the first time I bust it.
Oh yeah, or they rip it out of their hand, or you know, people just don't expect it.
Right.
You know.
And they're like, yo, it's a newbie.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So cool.
So yeah, after Labor Day, he'll go down and he'll learn how to be a cow. We have a cow-calf operation here, so we raise beef cattle. We don't do any dairy. Basically how it works is we have 150 cows on the ranch, usually right between 100 and 150, depending on how much food we have. And we have those cows, they live here on the ranch their entire lives. They have calves every year. We take those calves, we raise them to be 6 to 8 months old. We sell them to feedlots. Feedlots raise them for another 6 to 8 months, and then they're sold to, well, then they go to butcher, processing, distribution, and eventually your grocery store.
Life from beginning to market.
Mm-hmm.
How long is that
For a cow?
A cow.
Cow, okay, so calves are born in, let's say they're born in April. So we're usually gonna keep them with their moms until about October.
Okay.
We're gonna take them off their moms, we're gonna wean them off, get them switched over to regular food, because they just continue to drink milk all day long if they could. So we'll wean them off, and then we'll keep them usually until January or February, and then we sell them to an auction house. So they're almost a year old by that time. And then they're gonna go into the feedlot. With COVID and stuff like that, we're interested to see what's gonna happen this year, because feedlots don't wanna buy calves right now, because they don't know if they're going to be able to get them through processors. One of the problems that we have is there's only 4 major meat processors in the US. Yeah, 4. So there's a huge bottleneck has happened. So we have producers on this side that are pumping out cows, and we're working a year in advance. So if you think of that, we didn't even know COVID was coming. So all these cows were pregnant, having calves before we even knew that there was going to be a problem. It's like trying to get,
They've been challenged before.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trying to get a bowling ball through a garden hose. That's what we're trying to do. And it's not going to work. We got to figure out a way around that garden hose. And that's where, direct to consumer makes sense, to be able to say, hey, you don't have to go through that garden hose. Just take one step to the left and just go right to your farmer. Go to Ryan here and say, hey, what are you doing this year for butcher? And let's figure something out there. Guys, this wall, you ever seen this before? That's our license plate wall. These are license plates that are sent to us by subscribers all over the world. And it all started out with one license plate, and we had a video with that license plate behind me, and then they started rolling in. USDA inspected doesn't mean it was raised in the US. All it means it was butchered in the US. So it may have only breathed 10 minutes of US air as, it got off a boat, boom, done, going in the packaging.
Slap a sticker on it.
Slap a sticker on it, and most consumers, they see USDA, they think it's US beef, and it's not. So there's a thing called country of origin labeling, and like your t-shirt you're wearing on your tag, it'll say made in China. That's a law. It has to say that. There's 2 things that are exempt from that. Well, there's 2 things that are exempt from that law: beef and pork. Don't know why. So yeah. So exactly, kind of in trouble. Anyway, we're here at the pigs. These are our pigs. These guys all go directly to market, or all directly to the farm store. These guys are about 60, 70 pounds a piece. There's some big ones back there, but they're solid. Most of these guys, these guys will be about 300 pounds within about 3 or 4 months. And they'll be ready to go to market.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do they eat?
Anything. They turn everything into bacon.
35 acres of cow?
35, yep.
We
Yep.
got 23 pair on 40.
I know, I hate you. No, it's funny. It's just depends on where you're at, and that's what it comes down to too.
Because of the laws, or?
Nope, it all has to do with how much production we can get off of that acre. So how much grass you can grow, how your soil, there's a lot of things that play into it. What your soil's like, because we call it cowpaction, but it's compaction. Cows do more damage with their hooves than they do with their mouths. We got to factor all that in. We also have to factor in winter feed, because in the wintertime, we're feeding them for 6 months out of the year. So we have to be able to put up enough hay to be able to do that.
What does it do?
So this is all of our cattle handling facilities. So when we bring in our cows or our calves or whatever we happen to be working on, whether we're vaccinating, mostly it's vaccinating, but we do preg checking as well. We actually ultrasound our cows. So we can tell when the calf's going to be born. We can tell the sex of the calf. We can tell if they're having twins. They all come up through here. This is just a bunch of different sorting facilities. And then we'll see when we go to the other side, they come up through this alley, and this thing that kind of looks like a box on the other side, that's where they come in, and they'll stop in there, and it squeezes them, holds them tight, and we can do whatever we need to them. So this is a 1924 Model T Ford pickup. Still runs, has a giant flat shoe, but still runs, and we don't use it for much. Yeah, so this kind of goes on and on. This is the loading chute here. So a semi or a trailer could back up to that. The loading chute's adjustable, goes up and down. Cows would go right up that way. The other direction they go would be into the squeeze chute. So We have a tub there that we circle them around, and we're able to push them wherever we need to, and it sure makes things easier. With this system, you could, 2 people can work cattle. Pretty dang easy.
That's amazing.
The old fire truck here, this is a 1955 Howe Fire Cruiser. It's got about 7,000 miles on it, all original miles. Yep, it's actually from a fire department up in Montana. A friend of mine bought it, brought it home, and his wife said, you don't need a fire truck. So he called me and he said, you wouldn't happen to need a fire truck, do you? And, yeah, sure, bring it down. Everything still works on it, sirens, lights, all that kind of good stuff. Chicken house is over here. We raise 70 laying hens at a time. So we get about 5 dozen eggs per day. You want to help me out, Jaren? You want to open up the chicken house? We have a little thing we do here. It's called Chicken Parade. So if you guys come stand on this side, and Jaren, if you push this button twice, it'll open this magic chicken door. So Jaren, did you get everything that you expected when you pulled in?
Yep.
You sure?
Yeah.
Your ears aren't bleeding, so you're doing pretty good.
They aren't there.
I can tell you, we came here from the corporate world. Like we came here in 2008. We weren't raised on the farm or anything like that. So I understand the whole, not wanting to put a face to your food. Yeah. You don't want to eat a hamburger and look peanut in the eye while you're doing it, right? I get that. And most farmers do too. Like we have a connection with our animals. So it's not that we're heartless, but also that I think farmers are more realists than anything. Right. So come on in. Everything's kind of packed away in here, but everything, there's vegetables and stuff in the fridge. We can always go through those. Peaches and pears from some friends of ours down in Colorado. Everything besides the peaches, the pears, and the maple syrup is all produced here on the ranch. Okay. So pork on that side. There's also homemade ice cream if you're into that type of thing. Beef on this side. Right, feel free to dig in. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. So that's pretty much it for our morning anyway. I was planning on getting some chores done, but that took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But I do want to thank our guests this morning for coming along on the tour with us, and thank you for coming along on the tour with us. The folks there, Dom and Chrissy, you can check out their Instagram. It's Disco Moose the Bus. Disco Moose the Bus, because they actually live in a converted school bus. But it was great to have people come around, do the tour with us, and take a look and see what it takes to get food on their table, and that's what we're all about. Next up, I'm going to get in the truck. I'm going to go get changed and get some different clothes on and drive a couple hours to Deadwood, South Dakota for the RCAF convention, where I'm actually part of a panel that's all about doing exactly what I did here this morning and trying to get consumers to appreciate where their food comes from and how to communicate with consumers. So that's what that's all about. Actually, hold on. Let me give you the exact title of it because I just butchered that. There's an actual title to this thing. Let me find it. Give me a second. How producers can educate consumers. There you go. That's the name of the panel that I'm on. So I'm going to get you some behind the scenes looks over at the RCAF convention, which is taking place in Deadwood today, over the last 3 days actually, and we'll meet you over there. See you in a minute, guys. Welcome to Deadwood, South Dakota. Founded in 1876, this is the place where Wild Bill Hickok was shot down. Seth Bullock came up as a sheriff, and Calamity Jane hung out for quite a while. It's an interesting place to be and pretty cool place for us to be today, as the RCAF convention is actually happening, and we're going to head in, take a look and see what we've got to do. We're here for a panel that's all about educating consumers, pretty much about where their food comes from and all that kind of good stuff. So we are at the Lodge in Deadwood. or the Lodge of Deadwood. I'm not sure what exactly it's called, but we're looking for some place to park, which might be a little tricky. But we are going to go inside and see what's going on and hopefully find where we're supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing. So let's head that way.
States focusing on protecting constitutional freedom. Mike Antelope from Our Wyoming Life is here, and he is his story is incredible. And then one of my very favorite people.
I went and bought a book that was called Beef Cattle for Dummies, the Yellow for Dummies books. And I started learning everything that I could about cattle.
Let me ask you this question. This is a pretty good question. In your opinion, with your experience and background, what does the American consumer value in terms of the information that we put out? Do they, with the face to the consumer, the producer-consumer face, what do you think that they value most? Is country of origin labeling important to them? Is it not? Is it the price issue? Is it where we're raised in the United States? What do you think that the most important part of that is?
Well, I think Liz hit the nail on the head when we talk about consumers, and they just don't know. So what our biggest mission has become is to educate people on the things that they don't know, and it's not their fault they don't know it. It's not their fault they don't know what country of origin labeling is. It's not their fault that they don't know how the food chain works. It shows up at the grocery store, and that's all they care about. So for us, it's really just been about educating on what we can at that moment, and taking things like COVID, which brings all this stuff to the forefront. And this is like almost like a golden hour where you have to grab that bull by the horns and take it and run with it and use the momentum that we have going with the consumer to be able to continue to educate consumers as we go along.
Is it important for these producers to tell our story in truth? And when I say in truth, that means with the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we know the circle of life can be ugly. Birth is ugly, death is ugly, and it all intertwines and is interwoven to make our life happen.
Right.
Tell us what you think there.
To tell our story and do it truthfully and not sugarcoat it. And I think that's one thing that our subscribers, our followers, our fans have found, is that I don't sugarcoat it. When I lose a calf, we're right there with it. I've done C-sections in the field where I've cut a cow in half trying to get a calf out. We didn't edit any of it. We gave it directly to them. This is how it is. This is what it's like out here. And as we do this, and either you're going to appreciate it or you're not.
Tell us how your diversity has come to provide you income. I mean, I think these people would be, not that it's our business, but I think that it'd be interested in knowing how that works in your life.
I'm really good at the side hustle. I'm doing everything but Uber at this point. Well, guys, that pretty much does it for me from the RCAF convention. Actually, I'm gonna go put away my camera and go back in and glad hand and do a little shaking of hands and all that kind of good stuff and say hi to some folks. But it's amazing the number of people who truly do care about making sure that the consumer knows where their food comes from, whether it's a little tour out the ranch or a banquet room full of people. It's all about communicating and educating. So we always say that sometimes we feel like we're preaching to the choir, but what I'd like to think is that we're able to tell the choir to go preach for themselves. Thanks, guys, for coming along with us today. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and follow along on Facebook and Instagram. Check out the website if you're into that as well, www.ourwyominglife.com. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time right here on Our